So I'm all up, hopped up, and I'm running up the staircase myself like this, like a fucking asshole, and I actually made it. I got out of the staircase. I ran away at maximum speed. I must have looked like a guy running through the fields, but I made it away. And it's like, do I really want to play the rest of the game like that?
It took a lot longer than I thought it would, but we are finally here. DSP has finally put Stalker 2 up on the chopping block. I said from day one that this would not be a game that he would enjoy. It's not his style, and honestly, I couldn't be happier that he's quitting it now, or at least trying to quit. But as a detractor, I do have to admit that the 2 Stalker streams that he did before this were actually enjoyable for all of the wrong reasons. And it was made all the better by this little rant the following day.
So here's the deal. Yesterday, I came to a moment playing Stalker 2, okay, just to explain, this is how bad Stalker 2 is. And I'm sorry, I said this point yesterday, and I think some people get it and some people don't. You can like and enjoy Stalker 2, but if you actually tell me you think that game is a good game, I'm actually got to be like, nah, you're factually wrong, okay? Stalker 2 is a game that is so badly designed in certain parts, you know, it's hard to even take the game seriously. Now, I understand why some people would like a janky game, why some people will get enjoyment out of a game that's kind of unpolished and glitchy and messed up. But the game itself is broken. It's innately, the design is flawed. Okay.
And before he even really gets going, he's off to a pretty abysmal start as far as rationales go. To think that this guy can talk about games with any sort of objectivity at all is laughable if you know his personal opinions on video games. Let me remind you that DSP is the only person I've ever heard say that video games have too much content. Hopefully that really puts into perspective how much you should be valuing his objective take on this game, or any game for that matter. And as a heads up to all of my audio styles out there, there's gonna be video game footage playing right now as he describes this very specific situation that he found himself in. I will be talking about it after he explains it all, but it will be on screen for the time being.
To give you perspective of what I'm talking about, yesterday I'm on a mission where I need to escape from, an area that I had, like a base that I had taken over or whatever. It's the monolith people. So these people are like tanks. They're mind controlled, and they take a bunch of shots to take down. They're not easy to kill, okay? There is a staircase, a metal staircase that winds like this up a circular room, like a column. You have to go up this staircase to escape. The room is absolutely full of enemies from top to bottom. There's 2, 3, 4 guys on the staircase, and there's guys on the edges that are positioned. They're all literally looking down like this, and they're all psychic. Now, what does that mean? It means because the game is broken, it's not programmed well. The moment that anyone even gets in your vicinity in this game, they immediately detect you and know exactly where you are, and get this, can shoot you even when they can't see you with line of sight. They still know where you are and can shoot. They can shoot through walls. They can shoot through metal. They could shoot through anything. The guy could have a shotgun, and you're below him, and there's metal. He's standing on metal like a staircase. He could just aim down and fire with the shotgun, and the shotgun goes right through the staircase and hurts you.
So for anyone who isn't familiar with the game in general, there is quite a lot wrong with this clip, but most of it, at least I think, is on DSP's behalf, and I'm not just saying that as a detractor, because not only is it actually within the realm of possibility that these men who are literally being mind controlled also contain psychic powers, but if you'll notice, pretty much at no point does DSP take cover in this room. You don't exactly have to be psychic to know where he's coming from when he's actively engaged in a gunfight and there's only one entrance into the room as a whole. I mean, there was actually a bit where he stands openly on the stairs just tanking shots as he exclaims that he can't see the guy and that the game must be bugged. He doesn't take cover, he doesn't push forward, he just stopped and started complaining instead of actually utilizing the game's mechanics.
Who is shooting me? Where is the person firing on me right now? Look, it shows them straight ahead. Do you see any enemies? Where are they? Why does this game suck so bad, man? What the fuck? It's so bad. What the fuck? Who's shooting? Dude, I can't see the person. They're completely fucking invisible.
And that's a running theme with him in this game. Now, in all fairness, the game is kind of jank. They might literally be detecting him through the walls. That's a possibility. That hasn't been my experience as far as I know, but I'm not quick to blame the game whenever I have a shortcoming and die. I'm very quick to blame myself, actually. You may also notice in this gameplay that DSP almost uses exclusively the sniper rifle and the shotgun. And that had been his bread and butter combo for a while up to this point, leading to very, very boring gameplay, as he will just eat bullets in order to line up a headshot on the sniper rifle. Or he will, like you can see in the gameplay footage used here, just be in the open, holding W, while trying to use the shotgun from a distance that it was just clearly not meant to do. He also refuses to use the lean mechanic, the mechanic specifically put into the game to make it harder for them to hit you behind cover. So it's really no wonder he hated this experience, because he might as well have not even have played the game with all of the mechanics that he decided to not use.
So what I'm describing to you right now, you may be like, I don't get it. How could anyone like that game? I really don't know. But there are people who do. And again, I'm not going to be the kind of person like I used to be and hate on people for liking stuff. Listen, if you like jank, good for you, I guess. But for me, I prefer games that function. Like a game where an enemy isn't psychic, knows where you are at all times, has perfect aim, auto-aiming on you, and shoots through walls to hit you. That's a little bit on the fucking really unpolished, ludicrous side of things where I don't have fun anymore, okay? So basically, I tried to get out of this column staircase room for over 30 minutes. I tried everything. I tried running through. I tried carefully sniping. I tried healing constantly. I tried everything. You can't do it because the enemies, and by the way, the other point I didn't make, these enemies shoot you, and when they do, they take 80% of your health for like a glancing shot that barely hits you. It grazes you, and you lose 80% of your health. Keep in mind, these are people using shotguns from a million miles away. It's not like they're in your face. They're way up there, and they're using a shotgun firing down, and it's taking your entire life bar because one tiny piece of buckshot grazed your ear. Like, what is wrong with this fucking game?
He says that, but how does he know that those buckshot pellets specifically from the enemies on the upper floors were the ones that were doing the 80% damage? Is he also psychic or something? And for doing 80% damage per hit, he sure was face tanking a lot of those rounds. It makes it hard to believe this 80% number that he threw out. I do love how he said that he tried everything and that it's simply impossible, but he actually completed this section in the very footage that I just showed you. And all he had to do was out heal the damage. Clearly, it couldn't have been that difficult if that was the winning strategy. And I know for a fact it's not that hard, because this guy's playing on normal difficulty in a game that, if you ask me, is way too forgiving. There's far too many healing items in the game, and that's my biggest critique of the game as a whole. It's just too easy for a good majority of the time that you're playing. And yet you have DSP here whining that he's not good enough, because that's exactly what this is. This is him whining, because he just doesn't possess the skill level in order to make the gameplay any more interesting. I agree with him. The way that he plays does look frustrating. It does look boring, but those are gameplay decisions that he is making as a gamer.
So, yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. It's not fun to play at this point. And from what I'm being told, it gets worse. This game makes you run around in the open world so much, it's just a bunch of time wasting, and it's boring. It would be one thing if, like, you're going somewhere and you're there for the very first time and you're just exploring. No, this game is like walk across the map, 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 the map, the map, the map. I'm bored of your fucking map.
It's almost as if the map of Stalker is an integral part of the game and a core mechanic that drives many other mechanics, isn't it? And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. There are things in the map to do, items to find, money to make, to improve your gear, rare artifacts to buff your character, and DSP can only see it as a chore. When I played Stalker Call of Chernobyl, the big-ass mod for Stalker Call of Pripyat, the entire point of my play sessions were to explore the map and get into combat encounters with the inhabitants of the zone. The creatures, anomalies, and map are the primary experience. Everything was just a fetch quest to go and make you experience different parts of the map, and it was fun.
Your map isn't fun anymore. In Fallout, when you're exploring the map, it's fun. In this game, it's insanely tedious. There's really nothing anywhere to find. It's just a bunch of the fucking anomalies constantly annoying you, or mutated creatures that are really annoying. Like, there's nothing fun in the environments in this game. It's just annoying. Okay, the best way I've described this game at this point, 30 hours in, it's this. Imagine you want to play Fallout. So you're playing Fallout and you're having a good time, but while you're playing it, someone walks into your room, picks up a big 2x4, and smashes your testicle sack. That's soccer too.
Hilarious, DSP. You got the whole squad laughing, I promise. He doesn't seem to understand that the map isn't supposed to be an amusement park. No Stalker game before it was either. But that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be a journey. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen every single Stalker stream he's done. Even I'm not that insane. But I can tell you from what I've seen, he doesn't use fast travel as much as he should be. And that's coming from someone who often hates the implementation of fast travel in games as a whole. For a couple of thousand in-game currency that you can make in minutes, he can go from one side of the map to the other, making his travel time infinitely faster. It's just another mechanic ignored that would make his experience so much better, but it's the game's fault, of course.
It has things that are good. It has moments of enjoyment, and parts of the plot are great. But as you play it, it becomes so fucking annoying. It's like someone is constantly bothering you or causing you pain. Right? I want to play Fallout, but I got a 4-year-old who's grabbing my leg, pulling, going, me. Why are you doing that? Well, that's the equivalent of having to eat the food, take the energy drink, take the anti-rad, heal, put on a bandage because you're bleeding. Oops, you're hungry again. Eat the food. Take this. It's like, me. Well, no, I just want to play your game, you fucking idiots. Why'd you put 7,000 little mini bullshit things in there to make the game annoying, instead of allowing me to just play the game and enjoy it?
Notice that he said he wants to play Fallout, but there is an annoying 4-year-old in the form of survival mechanics. If he wanted to play Fallout, then he should have just played Fallout. Stalker is not Fallout, it never has been. And I think that the same thing is gonna happen to Adamfall in March when it comes out, because all he could say during the trailer to that is, look, it looks like Fallout, you guys, which is such a dented way to see games. But these mechanics that he's talking about, eating and drinking, they're hardly even mechanics. They're almost non-problems because just about every human enemy that you encounter, which is the vast majority of the enemies you face in the entire game, they're all carrying food or water to some capacity. Anytime he's looting an enemy, he should just be using the consumables on the spot and moving on with his day. It's a simple gameplay change that would nullify every single aspect of those mechanics. Now, when it comes to the bleeding and healing mechanics of the game, that really is more of a get good kind of scenario. He could get bleed resistance in his armor, but being better is kind of the preferred strat.
And that's the problem with Stalker 2. They had all these ideas that they would make a survival game based around every enemy hits you for insane amounts of damage. You constantly have to be managing your health and your energy. But did they ever have anyone test the game and ask, is this fun? Because that's actually what the game is missing, a fun factor. Like, the reason Fallout's fun is because you don't have to obviously be constantly micromanaging a bunch of bullshit. You could just enjoy the game. You can't enjoy Stalker 2. There's constant annoyances, constant pain, constant things that piss you the fuck off. Why are you doing this to me? Just let me play your game and stop annoying me.
He must have forgotten that people begged and pleaded for a survival mode in Fallout 4, huh? I guess Wet Brain really does make you forget a lot. But there are tons of people out there that do find these mechanics enjoyable. Some people, myself included, actually wish to be even further inconvenienced by the game. The world of Stalker is one that I want to be difficult and scary, and I understand that not everyone feels that way. But again, if he wanted to play Fallout, then he should have played Fallout. It really is that simple. He started this segment talking about how he didn't want to yuck anyone's yum, but then continued to outright hate on mechanics of the game because of his own subjective opinions.
And it's not getting better. I'm being told in the end game, these last 10 to 20 hours, the game gets so bad, you have to endlessly fight enemy gauntlets of infinitely spawning enemies who are all psychic, who all shoot you perfectly. It's like, get the fuck out of here, dude. So by the way, you might wonder, did I ever beat the column room with the staircase? Yes. You want to know what I did? I took every drug in the game. There's like 4 drugs. So I took every drug. One's like, makes your weight lighter. One is like psi resistance. It should be psi, not C. They call it C. It's spelled PSI. They pronounce it C, No, it's Psy, like psychic, stupid. Why the fuck are you pronouncing it like C? You made the game. You don't even know how to pronounce the thing in your game. It's pretty stupid.
And just when I was finally about to agree with something that he said, he had to go and ruin it. Because I do agree, PSI should be pronounced as Psy. But to say that they don't know how to say the things in their own game, like, brother, it's their universe. They can say it's pronounced however they want to. You can disagree with that and call it however you like, but it is what it is at the end of the day, and it's really not even worth mentioning. Now, when it comes to the game making you go through a gauntlet of enemies towards the end of the game, I gotta ask, what did he expect? The game's climax is approaching. The stakes are rising despite DSP trying to ban any mention of them. More people are involved in the story. Of course the game is gonna throw more enemies at you. It's an FPS game. Quite literally, the majority of the game is shooting dudes. Why would you expect to shoot less dudes in the later half of the game? And most of these complaints can be levied at the older Stalker games as well, which only begs the question, why would he expect Stalker 2 to be any different from the other Stalker games? Further proving the point that he really did expect a Fallout-style romp through the zone.
But yeah, so I popped that. There's like 4. I popped all 4 of these things, and I literally said, fuck this game. And I ran up the staircase as fast as I humanly could as they were all shooting me. And as they were shooting me, I was injecting myself with syringes. So I'm all drugged up, hopped up, and I'm running up the staircase, injecting myself like this, like a fucking asshole. And I actually made it. I got out of the staircase. I ran away at maximum speed. I must have looked like a guy running through the fields, but I made it away. And it's like, do I really want to play the rest of the game like that?
Amazing mime work, just amazing. I think it goes without saying that he didn't have to play like that. He said it himself, he just ran full speed tanking with drugs. He could have moved up cover to cover looking from different angles, mitigating damage, but that's just not how he decided to play. He didn't have the patience, and that's fine. But that's not the game's fault. Once he got up that initial staircase, there was cover on alternating sides all the way up to stop at. He just continued to push forward. I'm actually impressed that he used the in-game enhancements to power through like that. That is what they're in the game for, so I guess it's not all that impressive, but it is really cool that he remembered to do it, I guess, because oftentimes I wouldn't.
No, I want to play the game. I want to shoot the enemies. I want to do loot, but I can't because they designed it so fucking poorly that there's no fun to be had. I don't want to smash my ball sack another 14 times with the 2x4. I want to play games that are fun to play. You get it? So, basically, those who were on the stream yesterday were of the impression that I should drop it. I'm not kidding. Like, people were like, dude, we could see this game is just no fun at this point. You should drop it and play other stuff that you're going to enjoy.
That's exactly what I kept saying watching him play. It felt like every other thing that he said was some complaint about the game, and that kind of attitude on him is just awful as a stream viewing experience. While I think he's a coward for not making it through the game based off of the reasons that he gave, I do think it's still the right choice for actually making better content that he quit. But what do I know? I'm just a psychopathic detractor.
So, I'm okay with that, but only if we can come up with something else to replace it that's going to be fun and that it's not going to piss people off that I spent 30 hours on the playthrough and now I'm quitting, you know? The thing is, I wonder if the game actually is worth beating. Like, if I beat the game, is there a good ending? Is there a good story resolution? Or at this point, is it like, am I just spinning my wheels because if I beat the game, there's no real reward at the end either, and I'm just going to be angry, right? I kind of feel like that's the case. Like, I'm going to beat the game and be like, okay, here's my reward, and the ending will suck, and I'll be like, why the fuck did I ever play this game? You know, I don't know.
And I think that really encapsulates exactly why DSP might not be enjoying Stalker. He is only in it for the narrative. He doesn't want to see all the little places and artifacts that there are in the world. He wants it to be over and done with so that he can move on with more games. And I think that that's a terrible way to look at games in general. And I think it's an especially bad attitude to have towards Stalker. Well, not included in this final segment, he did have other complaints about core mechanics of the game that he just didn't enjoy. For example, he was complaining about being poor in-game this time, and someone told him that he should be hunting artifacts as that's a great way to make cash and integral to the plot of Stalker. And of course, Phil dismissed the idea and said it was tedious and a waste of time. His refusal to artifact hunt or have a consistent way to make money in the game has snowballed into him not having any ammo during these tough encounters because he can't afford it, and his armor not having any additional upgrades because, again, he can't afford it. Just more and more mechanics being ignored that would make his experience easier and make him have have a better time. He's also been complaining essentially nonstop about how he is constantly overweight, once again in the game. And when I look to check his inventory, he has 20 energy drinks in his backpack with 33 anti-rad meds. I played on hard difficulty and carried 2 energy drinks and 2 rad meds on me max. The rad meds are worth selling, but the energy drinks shouldn't be by where he's at in the game at this point. But due to his own idiocy, he's not enjoying Stalker and therefore it's on the way out, just like I am right now. But of course, not before we look at some of the member comments from the last video. So big ups to the 60 skulls. Karamazov says he wants people to give money to give the whales less power. But there have been so many times where someone will give a few dollars with dissenting messages, but they get labeled as troll tips and are ignored. I don't recognize your name, so I'm not listening to you. Happens more times than it should. And you're absolutely right. That's one of the reasons that DSP is as poor a content creator as he is. Because as much as he loves to say that he's looking for criticism and he's actively looking to improve at all times, he's just not. At least he's not looking to take criticism from anybody who isn't going to glaze him. That's why one of my favorite segments to do was always the suggestion box, because seeing DSP try and do mental gymnastics live in front of everyone as to why he couldn't improve was always a sight to behold. If I actually believed that DSP had the ability of foresight, I would almost believe that all of this was designed like this intentionally, because it's very convenient to always just write off any feedback that you don't want to listen to as negative troll talk. But I think even that is beyond DSP's ability. I really think that his mind is as deluded as he lets on. He genuinely thinks that anybody giving him apt advice that he doesn't want to hear is being mean to him intentionally. But that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to come by for the next one. Until then, be safe. Goodbye.
Guy, woo, running through the fields.